Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the late start of the fun show here at Big TV.
Is this our first time ever being late?
No, there's other times we got a late start, but here we are. We're here.
We've made it.
Michael Salin is sitting there, finding a tune rapidly on the Kerrys keyboard. And I'm Arch O'Reilly, as usual, and sitting between us, I'm pleased to say, is our old friend, our young old friend.
Young old friend.
Kara Miner.
Shush. Hi, everybody.
and here we are. And so this is the September 9th edition. We haven't been here for 2 weeks, in case you failed to notice this fact.
They've been suffering without us.
One of the things that this has done, being 3 weeks since the last time we were here, is that it has left us a long list of people who shook off the mortal coil and passed out of Donald Trump's world with a smile on their face. And so Kara is going to do her necrology for tonight.
Yes, I will do the necrology. I can't give them everybody because it's just a lot of people have died for that period of time.
Keep filling in.
All right, here we go. But there's at least 8. We have Robert Mugabe, the revolutionary dictator in Zimbabwe in the 1970s.
A classic case of being a hero when you took power and then becoming so fond of it you couldn't pry it out of his dead hand.
Power corrupts. We have Bill Harris, film critic for after the movies. I guess he's after Siskel and Ebert. James Atlas, Penguin Books publisher. Carol Lynn Lee, a Hollywood actress.
Carol Lynn Lee, yes.
Let's see what this. Richard Williams, and he's an animator, won 3 Oscars. He did Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
And what was the other one? I thought he did one other one.
I didn't like the movie.
I couldn't remember what it was.
He did a bunch.
It was a little hokey.
He had to do several since he won 3 Oscars.
Fair enough. From a logical point.
I can disagree with them.
So we got 3 more. We got 3 more. John MacArthur, former dean of Harvard Business School.
Yes.
Yeah.
David Koch, billionaire and right-wing nut.
Great American. Right?
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, that was the good news.
Great influencer.
That was the great news.
And
there was a man,
Valerie Harper.
Rhoda.
Yes, formerly known as Rhoda.
The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and etc. But
we already hung our head for a moment of silence, so we're not going to do that on the air. But
I was going to throw some coal on the floor. Or something.
It was so nice. I mean, it was really a nice day when Koch kicked the bucket. Here's a guy who was a billionaire, and he spent as much as it could to hurt as many people as he possibly could. He spent his fortune in an unremitting effort to hurt as many small Americans as he possibly could.
He was determined to make America more American.
No, his idea of American, which is clearly not all of our ideas of American.
They had meetings in the coal bins there and all those tunnels.
Well, on top of everything else, I mean, not only was he a big supporter of right-wing causes and et cetera, and believes in a world with no taxes and no limits on how much corporate bigwigs can make, but also was one of the world's largest and most unrepentant polluters. I mean, he was just, on top of everything else, he was poisoning the air, the water, and everything else.
But I always thought it was the Koch brothers. It's like you seem... you seem to be giving it all to this brother that died.
I'll give it to his brother when he dies.
Okay.
Billionaires.
So this brother, though, there's still one hanging around doing damage.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So, but is David worse?
It's hard to tell.
Okay.
It's hard to tell. But they have a sister who actually, on the other hand, is one of the major benefactors of National Public Radio. So I don't know if they spend Thanksgiving together or
probably not.
But
is he against? Is he against public radio because they're trying to cut it back? You know, they want to end up our programs.
Yeah. Well, they've been. You know, the right-wing wing nuts have been trying to do away with public broadcasting for a long time because, this is the thing that catches Trump in a logical kleptic because he should love Jeff Bezos because Jeff Bezos is a genuine billionaire as opposed to a
fake
bragging billionaire.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what bothers him. But since he owns a newspaper, which, let's face it, is not one of the great journalistic highlights in the world, but it does print the truth about Donald Trump, which is something he can't stand.
Nope.
This guy is incredible. We talk about him. It will be nice when we come to a place in the world where we don't have to talk about this character. But
we don't have to talk about the Taliban being invited to Camp David either.
Yes, he decides with no advice from anybody or anything. And you know why he did that?
Yeah.
It's because apparently there is some sort of half-baked deal with the Taliban, but he didn't negotiate it, and he wants the optics because he wants to
distract
make it
him
look
over there
like he did it.
Yep.
This guy's skin is as thin as it is orange.
Well, I'm glad he doesn't live. I'm glad I don't live in
awful.
Alabama. Anyways, I would have been boarding up all my windows listening to him.
Is that where Dorian was supposed to go?
Yeah,
right through Alabama?
According to his Sharpie. It's now been demonstrated that he actually altered the map himself. And,
with a Sharpie.
And he won't let it go.
Of course not.
He was wrong. I mean, in the future, this is a real test. If you have a person who is absolutely psychologically incapable of ever saying, "Oops," do not elect them to anything.
It all was common sense, but he got elected anyway because it says more about our country than, well, it just says more about our country than him.
He's messing with the hurricane.
Yeah.
He's messing with British politics. He wants to give himself the Medal of Honor. He's pouring our tax money into his hotels, which comes right back to his pocket. I was so disappointed in this hurricane because I was so praying it would blow Mar-a-Lago into the middle of can you imagine what Mrs. Post is doing, rolling in her grave that this guy is occupying her house?
Well,
Post cereals.
Okay.
yeah,
Mrs. Post built Mar-a-Lago as one of her many estates.
Isn't he?
Huh?
He's an aristocrat, isn't he, Trump?
An aristocrat?
There you go.
So he could be in that house. Like,
Yeah. All right, so Pence is staying at his hotels. They're diverting troops to stay at his hotels. He wants to hold the next G7 at Mar-a-Lago. And
the alligators, and they say no, we don't want them down there.
What, a little French food? Yes, bring it on. But every single one of those things is a clear and obvious violation of the Emoluments Clause of the United States Constitution.
It's one failure after another.
However, the good news is...
Is there good news?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm just exhausted. Are we almost done with him, please?
The House has started the process leading to his impeachment.
Impeachment.
So...
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, the thing is...
I know,
but I don't think we can survive this guy until January 2021.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Can't survive
I didn't know
either.
that we could survive him past the first 6 months, and somehow we did. And somehow we're still going. And somehow it seems to be still a consideration that he might be elected again. What is going on? I'm trying not to have a panic attack here.
Did we? Now, on the other side of the pond, what he refers to as Britain Trump, Boris Johnson, who a friend of mine said he really liked when he was mayor. Boris Johnson, who is another, he's like a bad Saturday Night Live parody of Trump. I'm here to guarantee that he will not be prime minister by the time Halloween rolls around.
All right.
Tell about his brother.
Well, and his brother was a member of parliament and quit.
Because of his other brother.
Of his antics?
I mean, he just was embarrassed by his brother.
He could not be in the parliament building anymore.
And the funny thing is he doesn't even have a majority. But he decided he'd call an election. And interestingly enough, in 2011, they passed a new law. If you ever followed British parliamentary procedure, the Prime Minister always had the right to call an election anytime he wanted.
Right.
Snap elections. Theoretically, they have election every 5 years, but it rarely goes that long.
Okay.
And the Prime Minister calls an election when he thinks it's to his advantage to have a thing. But they changed the law now. You have to get 2/3 of the Parliament to vote for it. And since the opposition parties have said to Boris, no.
Yeah. Nothing's happening.
We don't trust you, so he can't even call an election. He doesn't have a majority. They've passed a bill saying he can't do Brexit without an agreement. And he said he'd rather be dead in a ditch than ask for an extension. It's funny. Anyway, it's...
Is there any good news?
Well, actually, I find that good news.
Well, I mean, I guess it's good on one,
reasonable.
Fine, but that's another man's shame and embarrassment of his country.
Good news.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots.
There you go. But it's sports.
Good news. The
Okay.
42-year-old Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's 42.
Looked like he was 21 last night. It was incredible.
And of course, he loved the crowd of helpers that he had in the cast.
And here's the incredible thing. In a virtually unprecedented thing in history, the guy that most commentators say is the best receiver in football, a gentleman by the name of Antonio Brown. And I use the term loosely, but who harassed the poor Pittsburgh Steelers all last year until they finally gave him away to the Oakland Raiders. You remember the days the Oakland Raiders used to take all the criminals and motorcycle gang members and things.
I like that.
Didn't know that.
Everybody that the coach couldn't stand ended up
at the A's
in
Oakland.
Oakland
aren't they the
Raiders.
Oh, okay.
That's a baseball team.
Gotcha.
That's all right.
You're right.
We know that.
That's
this
right.
is
I'm doing the best I can
This
here.
is not your area.
It really is.
I don't know.
I'm like struggling
Anyway,
through this here.
To make a long story short, ever since he was traded to Oakland, he's been giving them grief and annoyance and stuff on social media and everything. So it was like Friday or Saturday, they just finally, he put on social media, release me, let me go. Please release me, let me go. And so they cut him.
$29 million he isn't getting, the reserved money. It said so in the paper.
But what is he getting though?
Well, I don't know. He
What's
doesn't
his new
care.
gig?
Seem to care.
He can make as much as $25 million, of which $9 million is guaranteed here. But
where's the punchline?
But the punchline is that ironically, the league's all upset. How can the best player end up on the best team, and etc.
He went to the Patriots. Nobody actually said that out loud.
Right. It's sort of like a what's that? LeBron James situation, because he wanted to end up at the Patriots, and the Steelers didn't want him to go to the Patriots because they're in the same division.
Right.
And,
Okay.
Anyway, but the final irony is that game clearly proves the Patriots don't really need him. It's nice because he's really good.
Yeah, I like him.
But he's not. He doesn't need to be the best receiver on the team.
Let them compete. That's what we want.
Maybe he'll be great, maybe he won't. But if he'll have no leverage, because if he starts acting up, Bill will just say, there's the bus.
Bill's not going to suffer
much money from us.
But apparently Brady was so thrilled on it that he offered to let him stay at his house.
Oh.
So who knows? He may be a Brookline neighbor for a while in any case. On things.
Maybe he'll buy the house.
What is $39.5 million?
What is that today among that big time athletes? Come on. Do you know
$30 million?
Remember that sinking of that ship off the coast of California with the
fire?
The divers.
The divers.
Yeah, the fire.
Divers, yeah.
3-day weekend.
That was...
it was a terrible story.
It was. They were all trapped below, and it seems, in retrospect, I would have been very nervous to be down there because it was very hard to get out.
And 5 crew members jumped immediately when the fire
Well,
started.
they claim they didn't jump immediately, but the thing is,
The papers
they
said-
were on the top deck. They weren't
Said
down
they got
below.
out right.
Okay.
The fire spread so quickly, they had to get out. However, the reason I brought it up is that there are warrants being served out there on all the people, several people. They're suspicious, the Coast Guard, about this whole thing.
Well,
And they should be.
I don't think
with egret, those extra panels.
Hey, the Coast Guard had inspected and passed the ship, so maybe we should investigate the Coast Guard.
Well, we will. I'm sure we will.
We're going to see who failed at their job. Because we got to point
That'll
fingers
come
at
up.
somebody.
Somebody
Somebody needs to get fired. Somebody needs a spanking.
There was, 5 members of one family.
Okay.
Ladies and
That's
gentlemen, it is now time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation for this evening.
Oh, we had a little read.
It's skimmed off the top of the deck of the archives
Only 10
Yeah.
years
of
ago.
things.
Okay.
It's only 10 years
Only
old.
10 years.
I know, it's killing him.
The ink is still wet
He
on
always
this
likes
thing.
to see
He likes the old
spider
ones.
webs on
Yeah.
the thing when I take it
It's
out.
entire
Yellow paper.
POV,
Okay,
point of view.
okay.
Okay.
Are
Point
you
of
ready,
view.
guys?
Action.
Mike, you always argue with everybody.
So what?
It's a free country.
People say dumb things to me.
And you're saying you're a genius?
Well, he's not exactly stupid.
They just think they're smarter.
Yeah, well, last week you were yelling about the Green Revolution
Hybrids are too expensive.
You want better gas mileage.
and a cleaner environment.
So I got to pay the price, huh?
You'll get a small tax break next year.
Some inducement.
And while we're at it, solar panels on your roof are a really good deal.
Well, that's the trickle-down theory.
Now what?
Forward.
Well, you have to spend big bucks to get big returns.
Guys are still buying big, cheaper SUVs, which I like.
Sure, OPEC says buy now, pay later.
It's going to cost you less in the long run.
Probably in 10 years, and those guys are taking trips.
True, cruises to islands.
I'm flying to places I've never been, like India and China.
And they're all choking on their own CO2.
But they don't care.
Anyway, you're too sensitive,
Right, Mike, you take everything too personally.
So I'm envious.
but not broke.
And you read too much.
Soon the papers will be gone.
You're full of information.
Ooh. Stop quoting TV news anchors.
All that endless repetition.
It's like brainwashing.
So they're programming me now?
Yes, you get mad and explode.
Yeah, why don't you just shut up and listen for a change?
Why?
For another point of view.
We're not automated message services.
Different folks take different strokes.
Yeah, give us a break.
I am a little opinionated, I guess.
Ooh, it's called information overload.
But it's valuable.
He doesn't really get it, you know.
Maybe he needs to be recycled.
You're tossing me on the trash heap?
It's that or Afghanistan.
I could pick poppies, huh?
You could make a killing in sand.
To make cement for rebuilding. Now that's good.
Al-Qaeda's terrorists live in the mountains.
And we bomb training camps in Pakistan, too.
And are we rebuilding the mountains? Yeah.
I think he's loony.
You were for the surge, though.
Me and Petraeus.
Well, that was then.
Now, President Obama says we're out of Iraq in the summer of 2010.
We'll see.
Yeah, and then we leave for Afghanistan.
I feel so bad for all those GIs.
Have they cleaned up Walter Reed yet?
Oh, you mean the rats, roaches, and peeling paint?
I'll move to another building, I think.
You know, Wolf Blitzer didn't say that on CNN.
Are you still having stomach cramps at night?
No, I just spilled hot coffee on myself.
Perfect.
Thanks much.
See Dr. Cronkite.
He'll prescribe a weekend in Chelsea.
With meals?
See the sunset from under the Mystic River Bridge.
With the lights on?
Wrong bridge.
I sort of like Rush Limbaugh. You know that?
Yeah, well, you like Attorney General Alberto Gonzalez.
Hey, a nice smile.
Yeah, wrote good stuff on torture, I believe.
Yeah, regular humanitarian.
Is waterboarding so stressful?
I think it's better than recycling.
Speaker Pelosi was meeting with the CIA.
She was very busy that week, says Mo Dowd.
And who wasn't?
I'm confused.
Well, the CIA took notes.
Bunch of non-secretors here.
I'm not one of those.
I told you he was weak-minded.
Just because he has a master's degree.
Actually, it's a PhD.
And he contributed to a PAC, too.
Where's all this leading us?
He's got a big cat.
I know. And he also feeds wild birds.
Does the cat help?
One mouthful at a time.
Yeah. Well, swell, but summer is it's mostly coming and going, I think.
My plants aren't doing well outside.
I see. You try to stay in touch, huh?
They say it's the cool nights.
President Ahmadinejad of Iran would respond properly.
I'm too cold.
Turn off the AC.
Nobody likes to sweat.
Even Chairman Steele of the Republican National Committee.
Not much fun for Governor Romney in that pizza parlor.
A trifle common.
Too much garlic for him.
I've heard everything.
What about the millions out of work?
What do you want me to do?
Pay your taxes.
Higher ones, undoubtedly.
We've got the best state legislators in America.
And they deserve the best pension system.
Oh, is that like the president's stimulus plan?
In our state, they're busy trying to balance the budget.
It's an enormously difficult project.
That's because they're all so occupied with thinking.
Organizing law study committees can be exhausting work.
But humbling.
However complex and laborious they must act.
And they do.
This is called the state theater.
60 grand a year for decision making.
They're cheaper and quicker in New Hampshire.
Isn't everything. Does Romney still live there?
Maybe he'll move to Alaska.
I'd hedge on that one.
How's Governor Palin's family?
Well, they're practicing abstinence or absenteeism, I forget.
Beats me.
Didn't you just bid for no Trumps?
Stood poker's my game, partner.
And a little small brandy wouldn't help a teetotaler.
Ever watch a hot dog eating contest?
No, and I hope I never shall.
Well, you got that right, Hoss.
Hamburgers got more style.
Do you realize that viewers are changing the channel right now?
It's the cold weather, pilgrims.
I've been putting on my gloves and my scarf and my goulashes.
Oh, say something I can relate to.
How's your uncle?
Old and sick, sonny.
You're a fraud.
But he appeared fine when I last viewed his mortal remains.
That's old Zeb. He's 95 and he's still jogging.
He's ticking like a Timex watching a coffee cup.
That's ridiculous.
I get a
Kick out of you. This is pathetic.
Must be punch drunk.
I haven't touched a drop.
Words. It's only words.
Last time I looked, he was still male.
Oh,
So what's your final conclusion?
Wisest thing he's ever written.
but hyperbole.
Say excuse me.
Oh, go bite a tree.
And prolong its agony.
Blackout. All right.
That was fun.
There we go, folks.
Oh, don't forget this list. Don't forget
this
to
list.
tell everyone so they know what they need to boycott.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Well, we got time. We got time here.
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
So it's interesting stuff going on. The school committee keeps appointing acting superintendents and interim superintendents, and one
We're still on that, are we?
one
For a
thing
day and a half.
But they seem to have gotten school underway.
Okay.
Yeah, but what's going to happen to all these appointees? I mean,
As I think you pointed out, they're burnishing their resumes.
Exactly.
I feel bad.
Thanks.
You know, it works for them.
So they got a new superintendent in Boston too. So
Yeah, that's true. And she is visiting the homes of a lot of the kids in the school. What do you think of that?
well, just to begin with, she's promised in the next,
I'm impressed.
like in the month of September, to visit every school.
Yeah, they got. Well,
Then she's
I know
going to
a
deliver on
teacher-
that. If she's
I know
already
a teacher said
started.
she spent an hour there at this school. Yeah,
Good for her.
that's pretty good. 54,000 kids they have.
How many schools are there? Do you remember?
Yeah, about 126.
Really?
Yeah.
She's going to have to do several a day then.
Oh, you got to do
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah,
that's
wow.
doesn't
do
make
4 or
much
5 a
sense
day.
because some of these old buildings, like high school buildings, they'll have 3 different so-called schools in them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could bring everyone together at once, so those
I don't
numbers
even
could
know if they.
cut down.
Well, she can go there, but she's all right. She's.
I think it's a really
So
good
what
move.
are the
She got them all out of the.
what are the oldest school buildings? What are the oldest school buildings that are still in use? I know you haven't been up on this.
Yeah, my
of
place
late.
that I used to be in, they turned into a pre-kindergarten, I think.
Oh, pre-K.
And then they have special needs programs there.
This was what, a middle school?
It was a K to 8.
K-8 school.
Yeah.
A full-blown, what we thought of as elementary school in the days.
Back in the
What's
days.
that?
Yeah, I don't know what that is anymore either.
Anyway, General.
Anyway, here's an interesting thing. You know, we went through this whole rigmarole about renaming the Edward Devotion School.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
And they, the committee and stuff came up with a name to recommend to town meeting. But there's a group out there who is making a warrant article for town meeting to name the school after Ethel Weiss.
Ethel Weiss.
You remember her?
Yeah.
The little store
Little store.
near there.
That's
She-
a big building for a little store like that.
I know, but she was a huge
I know she was
personality, you know. There's
Nice.
the little store, which was, the whole store was like half the size of this studio.
That's
Okay.
And it basically, his business was the kids going and coming
After
from school and
Yeah,
stuff.
Okay.
school.
And she was there past
And
90.
she was reading the paper. She said, "What?" And you'd bring her whatever you could. I don't think they were walking out with stuff. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
you wouldn't do that to
No, I
her.
wouldn't.
And she had scholarships for kids and everything.
Yeah, she did.
So it's cool.
Nice.
So it'll come down to town meeting as to whether we name the school for somebody who has something
She
to
had
do with
people
Brookline
working
or
there.
something
I don't
who
know.
doesn't.
She had some
Gotcha.
people working there, I think, and they had collars around their necks, maybe, or something. We get the wrong idea. We can't have her.
Oh, no.
We can't have her. She's
Those
Jewish.
collars,
my
those
goodness.
collars are just
Michael,
beads.
shame on you.
Beads.
shame on you.
Can you read that list really, really quick? Before- 'cause we're gonna run out
Here's
of
a
time.
list, quick. When you're thinking of a place to catch a quick bite to eat and you want to save your appetite, I would like to advise you that the following food operations, she doesn't want me to mention Target.
I
but
did not say that. I just was surprised to see it on the list.
The following food operations all support the re-election of Donald Trump. Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, Wendy's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, IHOP,
Those are my
Olive
favorites.
Garden,
What's-
Applebee's, and Outback.
Applebee's, no, I don't want them.
You don't like them?
But all the others are pretty good.
You like Olive Garden?
Yeah.
You're anti-Italian.
That wouldn't work.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We had a slightly shorter show today, but we will, in fact, be back next week, same time, same station here at the Fun Show at Big TV.